Dakota State is our marketing analyst this week. In the latest World Agricultural Supply and Demand estimates, the USDA says the 2012-2013 wheat balance sheet is unchanged. Grain markets did see a big break at the beginning of the week. We asked Frayne on Wednesday morning if most of that was still due to the latest WASDE report.
The combination of the WASDE report and I think some expectations by the financial community that prices may have reached their top, and so there was a lot of external money leaving the agriculture commodity markets and looking for a new home. And again, I think some of the announcements by the Federal Reserve and their quantitative easing 3, or QE3 as they say, may have also stimulated some move away from agricultural commodities and into other investments. So some of this is just the financial community looking for alternatives, and pretty massive sell-off in futures positions, and of course not as many buyers. And when you have that, you have a downturn in commodity prices.
Let's take a look at the WASDE report from the wheat side. We hadn't talked about that last week. What do you expect to see here? Do you think these numbers are accurate?
I think they're reasonably close for the U.S. production and consumption numbers. There were some questions raised when we look at the world numbers, in particular the areas that we've been talking about for a while, the Black Sea region. USDA took their expected production numbers down fairly hard. It looks as though the ending stocks in that region, when you combine Russia, Kazakhstan, Ukraine, are actually going to be below the levels that we saw a couple years ago when they put the export bans on. So still rumors talked about in the market that there's going to be some movement by that region to somehow put restrictions on or limit the amount of exports going out of that region. The other area, or the new area of concern now we're watching very closely, is Australia, and in particular Western Australia having a lot of dry weather and drought concerns. So the numbers out of the Black Sea region, I think the market was expecting those to come down. The numbers out of Australia were not adjusted yet, but we do expect that to happen in the next report.
We'll cover exports in a bit here, but winter wheat planting across the country going strong. What do you expect to see here in terms of acres that are going to be planted?
Yeah, the current planting pace is pretty much on the 5-year average. We're about the regular pace. The expectation in the market right now is that we will see an increase in winter wheat seedings. The motivation is a little bit different depending upon where you are in the country. For the hard red winter wheat area, with the very short feed supplies and pasture conditions being very limited, there's expectation we'll get some winter wheat seedings with the opportunity then to try and graze some of that winter wheat down and use it as a feed source. As you move into the soft red winter wheat area, you do the budgets and kind of the math on the economics of planting soft red winter wheat with a double crop into soybeans, and that math right now is working pretty good. So the expectation is we're going to see some increased soft red winter wheat plantings as well. So the export market will take on a new level of importance as we move forward.
Looking at that then, how supportive is the strength of the dollar to the export market?
Well, the value of the dollar is very critical for wheat exports. And again, as I mentioned before, the wheat market in the world stage is very liquid. We have a lot of buyers, we have a lot of sellers. And so when you look at what the end user is paying, the exchange rate, and i.e. the value of the dollar, has a big role to play in that. So the fact that the U.S. economy is starting to recover, that it looks as though the economic conditions in Europe are starting to stabilize a little bit. There's still some uncertainty there, but the fact that things are stabilizing a bit is helping reduce the value of the dollar, making exports reasonably comfortable right now.
Now the big buyers, however, some of them are in disarray. There's some political unrest in the Middle East and further south. How crucial is that to buyers across the seas?
Psychologically, it's actually very important, because when you look at North Africa, parts of the Middle East, and even into East Asia, meaning Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, that part of the world imports a lot of wheat. Whether it be from us or other regions, there's still a big demand for wheat in that area. The question that comes up is, given the political instability in that area, what's going to happen to export pace? And there's kind of two schools of thought. One school of thought is that, well, with the political unrest, there may be reduced imports or exports into that region because of the instability and the concerns about getting financing. The other alternative is, well, we're actually going to see an increase in imports or exports into that region, because there's a desire to reduce the anxiety of the populace, to try and reduce food prices, food inflation, and to try and add some political stability by increasing the flow of wheat into the region. So we're going to have to wait to see how that plays out.